5, we're good?
Yeah, if you can see and hear her, say something in either of the chats so we know you're there and everything's nice
Hello,
and clear.
everyone. Yeah, please feel free to just type either in. There we go. Hi. In either one, feel free to type wherever you like. Fantastic. Okay. Let's get going then. So just a recap for anyone that's just joining now. This class is the Dragonmaster Masterclass. I will be teaching everything you need to know to enter a Dragonmaster tournament and hopefully to do as best as you can in it. And yeah, so there's a multitude of things that we're going to be going over. We're going to go over categories and subcategories. We're going to go over write-ups. We're going to go over displays and presentation, what judges look for, common misconceptions and mistakes, little-known rules, my rule set, which is the one that we are doing for the Principality of the Northern Empire Dragonmaster, because I am currently the Regent. And I'm also going to go over some other rule sets and tournament types that you might see for not only Dragon Masters, but for other ANS tournaments. So, yeah. Okay, so after every single category, I will open up for questions. So feel free to just type as we go, and there'll also be a 20-second delay when you do the typing versus when I'm talking. So I will give time for that as well. So I will let you know when I will open up for questions. If you need me to repeat, rephrase anything as I'm going, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to do so. Okay? Also, for those that don't know me, because I realize this might end up going other places, I am Admiral and Cash. Most people just know me as Admiral. Call me whatever you like. So, let's begin. Categories and subcategories. When you are entering a Dragonmaster tournament, you must do two things. When you have an entry, you must put either your category that you're entering into and the subcategory that you are entering into. So I'm going to quickly just go over what those are. So art is the category. The subcategories are 2D art, 3D art, jewelry, and needlework. For cooking is the category. The subcategories are beverages alcoholic, beverages non-alcoholic, dessert, and general. Category for construction. Subcategories: armor, shield, weapon, and passive. Garb category. Subcategories: court, field, monster, and accessory. Category performance. Subcategories: dance, instrumental, recitation, singing. Category composition. Subcategories: factual, fictional, poetry, and media. Now, I would just like to note that these are the categories and subcategories for the Northern Empire. Other kingdoms may have similar ones, but they might be slightly different, and some might be completely different. So if you are entering a Dragon Masters tournament, no matter where you are, make sure that you look up the rule set, make sure that you look up your kingdom's particular categories and subcategories. Most likely will be in your Capora. If you're not sure, please ask the person that is running the tournament, because they will be able to direct you. Also, if you are entering a tournament and you are not sure which category and subcategory to enter your things into, ask. Pretty much any Serpent Knight will be able to help you, Masters. Anyone who's ever even done a Dragon Master tournament will be able to help you. And again, if you have questions, please talk to the person that is running the tournament. Other than that, also your Regent. Regents will know all this information as well and be able to help you, so please be sure to ask questions. Always ask questions. Questions are great. So, on the topic of categories and subcategories, what you enter your piece into will heavily impact the score. Let's see if I have anything quickly offhand. Okay, this is a belt favor. Now, this belt favor, made beautifully by Sir Liz of Golden Vale, thank you. It can be a garb accessory, right? It's a belt favor. It can also be needlework, right? Because that's embroidered. you'll find that there are a lot of different entries that can fit into different categories and different subcategories. So, when in doubt, try to think of it as what is the main thing you want this piece to be judged as. So in this case, right, if we put it into garb accessory, the main thing it's going to be judged on is its construction of being a belt favor. What function does it have as an accessory? How much does it up your garb? The overall putting together of all of it. So you're looking at all like the stitchings on the outside and stuff like that. Sure, you'll get bonus points for it being embroidered, but that's not the main thing that it's being judged on. Now, if you put it into needlework, needlework is going to be the thing that it's mainly going to be judged on. Sure. I just had a very loud noise in my earpiece. Okay, sorry, that was super distracting. I'm going to pull these off because I don't think they're going to be useful to me in this. So, as I was saying, when you go into needlework, you're going to be looking at the stitches, you're going to be looking at the design, you're going to be looking at how it's put together, if you can see the stitches from behind, right? Is it all the mess of things that's going to fall apart as soon as you wear it? That's more of what you're going to be looking at, right? Now, you'll get bonus points if the rest of it is done well, right? Is it nice and closed up? Look at this. It's double-sided. That's awesome, right? In that case, right, you're looking at this embroidery. You're looking at this embroidery. Then you're just looking how that's stitched together. It's on a belt favor. Is it going to get all mucked up, or the stitch is going to get pulled out, right? There's different things that you're going to be judged on depending on the category that you put it into. So it's going to be super, 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 super important that you know which one you're putting in. I'll quickly just look for questions before I move on. Okay. If there are no questions on categories and subcategories, we will continue. Okay, moving on. Write-ups. Oh gosh, write-ups are so very important. This is your lifeline to your judges. Most often than not, you're not going to have the ability to talk directly to your judges, so your write-up is it. That's all you got. That's your lifeline. So what you put on there is extremely, extremely important. Now, there's some things that are generally, you just, across the board, always need on there. The title of your entry, right? What are you calling it? The category and subcategory, as we said previously. Then the description of your entry. You're going to say what it is, right? You're also going to want to put any techniques, any unique tools that you made. If there's anything special with the materials that you used, anything really that went into creating the piece. Now this is a super, 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 super important thing. You also need to state whether you have made a mold. If you used a mold, if you have used a pattern, if you used someone else's design, were inspired by someone else's work. Basically anything that you did not create yourself, either the image of it, the imagination part of the design, the actual physically didn't do something yourself, you absolutely must state in your write-up. I cannot really go over that even, like, oh gosh, I could not specify this more. If you do not, and you just have, this is my thing, it is assumed by the judges that you made anything that you are presenting. If you do that, and you have used one of these things, that's plagiarism. We take plagiarism very seriously in this game. So, you could end up getting banned. You can end up having awards stripped, belt stripped, or if you're still allowed to play, you might not be able to compete. ever again, or at least for a certain amount of time. So it is extremely important that you know how this works, and by all means, you are allowed to use patterns, you're allowed to be inspired by other folks, you're allowed to do other things of that nature, but you just have to say that that's what happened. It's one of those, if you do it yourself, you'll get bonus points sort of thing, so you're not going to be penalized for it. The work, you're making the thing still, and that's what we're looking at. So it only helps you if you do things authentically yourself. But you won't be disqualified if you use a pattern or something of that nature. So, just explain what is yours, explain what is not yours. I'll just say that till I'm pale in the face. More pale. Yeah. Okay, so is there any questions on that before we move on? Wait for that 20-second delay. Also, if you need anything repeated, rephrased, if you weren't able to ask a question from the previous, okay, I think we're good. Okay, cool. Moving on. Displays and presentation. Okay. This also will impact your score. I've seen garb to where you'll have a tunic or something like that, and it'll have been worn. There's grass stains, there's mud stains, it's curled up in a ball and somebody just tossed it on the table. I've gone and judged these entries and went, is this someone's laundry? Did somebody just... Oh, that's an entry. Oh, there's a piece of paper with it. Oh, goodness. Okay. Wring it out. Oh, gosh, there's a smell. Right? And you're like, oh, gosh. If you don't care about your art, and then you're asking us to judge that, have respect for the things that you do. We're respecting the things that you do. Please know that you do great things, and we want to award great things, and don't treat your own work poorly. But yeah, so when it's not that extreme, right? It's literally just laying out on a table. It's really hard to tell what that fits like, right? If you take a lot of time and effort to tailor something to your exact shape, and it's just sitting flat on something, we'll never know. So, there's a couple of options for you there. You can ask permission to see if you can model it. If there is a judge that is approximately your size, you can give them permission to try it on. You can also bring a dress form and have it on the dress form. That's my personal favorite, because if you have the ones that are adjustable, you can actually make it to your own size, so you can show exactly how it fits. Now, sometimes those can be a little tricky because it's not precise, but there are things you can do to make it more precise. If you are a lady and you have a bra, you can stuff the bra. You can also use like pillow fluff and like elasticy fabric, just stretch fabric around, and you can stuff it in locations to have it actually show all of your curves and your shapes. Now, this is a gender neutral thing as well. You don't have to be a lady for that to be a case. So there's different shapes and sizes that cover the spectrum of all body types. So when you're getting a dress form, make sure you look into that. Find something that fits your shape and size. But understand that you can also augment it to literally fit every curve of you. You just have to measure it out, see for yourself, see how things fit. And you can get it pretty accurate. So that's an option for you. Also for if you're doing like ball gowns and dresses and big items like that, if you have the stand underneath, you can actually show the full thing. One tip with that though is have like a cloth or a piece of fabric or anything really underneath it, because sometimes you're going to be in a certain case where the floor is very dirty. You might even end up being outside, which that's never fun, but that will protect the bottom of your dress or cloak or cape or whatever trainer, whatever random item that you're putting on there. If you are doing other things like 2D art, frame it. Frame it if you can. Otherwise, in any other case, try to prop it up. When you see an entry and it's just sitting there, the judges will walk in and they will survey the room. Anything that is up will hold their attention and they'll go, oh wow, what's that? Ooh, I can't wait to judge that thing. That looks really cool. Let that be your item, right? So whatever items you have, prop them up. Have them really displayed. Have them, eye-popping. Use cloths under your items just to kind of, well, there's a couple things to do. It sort of claims your territory. It shows that this is your set of items. And it also is like a highlighter, on a piece of paper where it goes, look at this. Look at the focus here. Go there. When a judge walks into a room and they see just like a set of something, that highlighter of a cloth underneath, things are propped up, as a judge you get excited. You're like, ooh, I can't wait to see what that is, and you want to judge it. So make that be you. Make you be the person that we want to go and go, yes, this. Now, we have that with everything, right? We are so honored to be able to observe your crafting and see how far you're going as an artisan, and appreciate that you have made something and brought it forward to be to looked at the way that we do. So, yeah, thank you for one, and also thank you, judges. Be sure you also thank your judges. I'm just going to say that right now. They are volunteers, and they spend many hours going over these things. And it can be pretty grueling, depending on the amount of items. It is one of those thankless jobs. So, as Regent, thank you. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else for your display presentation. Yeah, pretty much. Again, it's one of those things where you're not going to get penalized for not having an elaborate display, but you'll get those bonus points if you do. Are there any questions for the display and presentation before we move on? Yes. Thank you, Delilah. Good point. So, in our case right now, a lot of these tournaments are being done online, to where you have to either videotape or take photos of your entries. This is a new world right now, and there are some things that you're going to want to know going into it. As Delilah has suggested, having a backdrop, having something like even a bed sheet to put your entries on when you're taking photos of it. That is good, solid advice. Again, it's doing that highlighter thing, right? Don't have other things cluttered in that photo either, right? If you have a written thing and it's with all this other junk in that photo, like, just to see this, oh gosh, my focus is gone. I'm looking at every other thing except for that entry. So you want it to be solely your entry being looked at, right? Look at this right here. This is annoying me just there. It's not even part of an entry, and it's in the shot, and it's driving me nuts. That's what we experience. We see things, and it's just like, oh, this is too much. Just be the entry. So that. Additionally, if you are taking video or photographs for your entries, make sure they're clear. Please, please, please. Make sure it's very clear. Make sure that the lighting is good. Show multiple angles. Show the outside, show the inside, show it up, top, bottom, side to side, whatever you can manage. Show us as much as you can. Because that's the only, again, right, you're going back to those lifelines. That's the only thing that the judges get to see. So if we can't see some really elaborate, awesome thing you did, you're throwing away points, right? Don't throw away points. Don't throw away points. No reason to throw away points. Sorry, just checking. Okay, so that's from a previous thing, but I will absolutely address that right now. If one uses a pattern, how specific should they be about the pattern / mold used? You don't have to go super into it. All you need to do is give credit if you know who made it, right? If it's like a McCall pattern where it doesn't say the creator, just say a McCall pattern. It doesn't hurt to, give the number or whatever, right? If you really want to just be like, this is it, right, to where we can actually look it up, yeah, give us as much information as you're able. But again, right, if you so much as just say, I used a McCall pattern for this outfit, that will suffice. If it's someone else, right, if it's someone you know specifically, right, if I make a stencil for you and you use it into an entry, say that you used Admiral stencil. Another question. Yes, absolutely. For dress forms, if you're using them for display stuff and whatnot, you don't have to go out and buy a dress form. This is a wonderful, wonderful point. You can make your own. What you can do is get an old t-shirt. Just a white old t-shirt they can get from a dollar store even. And duct tape. Wrap it all up. Have a friend with you. Please, for safety, have a friend with you. And then your friend will cut it off of you. Then you have that whole shape. Then you stuff it, again with the pillowcase stuff. Words. Wow. Pillowcase stuff. Pillow stuffing. And then you just tape up the back. And there you go. Yes, and you can use cellophane, duct tape that. There's a whole bunch of options for you.
Read the question out loud for the recording.
Okay, Tyler's telling me to read out the question out loud, but it wasn't a question, it was a comment, so.
Same thing, whatever you're responding to.
So, Lord Valiant, thank you for that comment, and very good point. Did I miss something? Okay, sorry, Phil, I did miss a question of yours. My apologies. Does this... Okay, sorry, I'm having a hard time reading. That's my bad. Does this work include art of a character that you didn't create? Okay. I'm going to use a generalized example. Please let me know if I'm real off base on this. So, if you are doing a 2D art of Mickey Mouse, you would say that this is a character that was created by Walt Disney. His name is Mickey Mouse. This is my homage to Mickey Mouse, right? What you're entering is the 2D drawing, your reproduction of it. So you would just note that that character is not yours, not your design, and that you are making a thing of it. Again, fine. Also, right, you'll go so far as to see things like actual historical reproductions of things. There are folks that will take like a painting of Queen Elizabeth I and will replicate to the finest detail her dress in that in that painting. Did they make that design? Nope. Can they reproduce it to the T and get a whole bunch of points for getting that precise and going for that? Yes. Right? All you have to do is just explain what you did and what you didn't do. So at the end of the day, that's kind of just the cut and dry. What you did, what you didn't do. Did I answer it okay, Val? If not, please let me know if you need more clarification or if I didn't cover it. If anyone else has any questions of anything up until this point, so write-up, subcategories, categories, and display. If anyone has any questions on that moving forward, please let me know. We're going to do that small little delay. Do silly dance. Yes. Okay. Again, feel free to keep on sending those questions in, and I will get to them at the next section, so even if I don't get them right now. Okay. Ooh, what judges look for? This is the fun one. Clip your threads. Clip your threads. There's certain little things that are kind of like the standard. The running thing is clip your threads. That's something we see all the time is folks will enter garb and they will not clip their threads. Please clip your threads. Right, you want your entry to be as finished as possible when you enter it. They'll look to see if it's been used, right? They're going to look for the grass stains. They're going to look for, mud stains. Is it all wrinkled up and smell all sorts of yuck, right? They're going to look for that. They are going to look at the backs of things. They're going to look under things. Even if you do this and that and try to hide, they will pick it up. They will look inside. They will look every single bit of it. They inspect everything. And they're also going to be going through your write-up and see how close it is to what you said it was, right? If there are many things that we just know, we can tell. So if I've used a pattern before and all of a sudden somebody enters a thing and I've used this pattern, so I know exactly what it looks like, and then they enter this thing and it's clearly done with this pattern, and they don't say it, right? I'm going in there going, this is a pattern, they didn't say so, we have an issue. It is very hard to cheat judges, especially when you have that number of individuals, and a lot of them are experts in many, many things. Don't try to cheat. There's no reason for it. You will be found out, and you can ruin your career. You can ruin your reputation, and there's no reason. There's just no reason. So please don't. That literally only hurts you, and if it's just to win the tournament, there's a million of these, and do it honorably, do it on your terms, do it right. A lot of this is trust, and it goes both ways. So don't do yourself that disservice. I'll just say that. Yeah, so basically, one thing that we do go over is, in the write-ups, some folks will point out things. We were already going to find these things. We look over everything to extreme detail. If you say the mistakes that you made, we can't unsee it. All of a sudden, we just go directly to that spot, and then it's like, I I can't even see the rest of this. I'm so distracted by this spot that you told me to go to that went, oh, this went horribly wrong. I burnt a hole through this thing. I ripped it and I couldn't put it back together. I smashed this on the floor. It's in pieces. I kind of just shoved this. It's not even connected anymore. Like, don't tell us. Oh gosh, don't tell us. We're gonna find it anyways. We're going to find it anyways. There's no reason to point that out. Because then it becomes a distraction. Like a huge, huge, huge distraction. I have become so distracted in this moment thinking about that I've lost my place in this chat, right? So, you know, an example of how that works. So please don't. Again, that only hurts you. That only hurts you. We want to be able to see the best of it and then remember the best of it. When we are focused on the flaws, then the flaws is what we remember in the end. And again, don't do yourself that disservice. I think of some other things that we look for. We look for things to be displayed, how well you treat your own work. We look for things, how finished they are. We look for, oh gosh, this is one. So there are certain things, different techniques and whatnot, like distressing. If you purposefully distress something, like I'm going to say just garb for this instance. If you distress garb, it will look bad to an untrained eye. It will look like, oh, this has been used and ripped and burnt. Why is this burnt? There's mud stains and grass stains and, oh my god, why did they do this? That could be completely intentional and an art form unto itself. Mention that. Tell us that. Basically anything that you do with intent. Let us know everything that you do with intent. Again, bonus points, right? Name the game's bonus points. So we will look at that. Usually when we see a piece like that, our first thing is we go back to the write-up. We're like, did they say it was distressed? Did they mean to do this? Right? Because if you take so much time to make something distressed and don't tell us, we go, this is a disaster. And we will mark every single flaw that we see, even though that was supposed to be an intentional thing that you should have been getting brownie points for, right? You lose the bonus points. Now, there is another side of that. If you did not do it intentionally, let's say you're ironing, you left the iron on, it fell over, and it burnt a hole through your piece. Don't tell the judges that you distressed it, that you purposefully made it look that way, because that's lying. That's lying, and we know. There are a lot of folks over time that we have seen that will mess something up and then try to pass it off as an intentional design choice. Please don't. Please don't. That is a form of cheating. If you do something with intention, let us know. If you do something without intention, don't try to pass it off. Right, and I'm just gonna reiterate over and over and over again. Don't point out your flaws. Please, 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 please. Sorry, that one was like a huge pet peeve of mine. Yeah. Let's go to questions. Any questions? Doop, 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 doop. See that. I'm shifting the camera. Yep. Okay. Yep. Just general comments. Good comments. Solid. Yeah, let's turn it a little on its head. Judges. If you are about to judge a tournament and your significant other, family, best friend, some sort of connection, your belted family, whatever you want to do, Please don't judge. Please do not judge. You can go in with all the intention of not being biased, but it's extraordinarily hard. And unknowingly, you're also going in there with knowledge of how it was made. You're going in there with knowledge of previous works the person's done. Everything's there. When you have a system that's built for anonymity, you just being there breaks that. All of a sudden, you could tell all the judges who this is. You could tell them the stuff that they've done. You could tell them, oh, like, you go the reverse. You go, oh, yeah, no, see that? Yeah, I watched them make that horrible mistake. Look at it right there. So bad, right? And oh gosh, the past 5 pieces, they made the mistake over and over again. So they just can't do this. Right? On the flip side, right? If you specifically have an arch nemesis or someone just like bad blood and axe, who knows, entering a tournament, please don't judge. Bias goes both ways. If you know that you cannot be objective when you see something like that, when you just knee-jerk and are just like, oh, yep, nope, it's their piece. Yeah, no, I watched him do it right before we broke up, you know, whatever the thing might be. You're going to go in there with a particular type of bias. Now, it doesn't make you a bad person, but you have positive and negative feelings towards folks. You might have positive and negative feelings towards people's work ethics or their design choices or whatever. If at any point you feel that you cannot be completely objective, remove the person entirely from the entry. You should not judge. Again, you're not a bad person. I got nothing against you. But just don't do the disservice to yourself, to your own reputation, and don't do the disservice to the artisans that have put the time and effort into coming and trusting, you know, us with their entries and being vulnerable enough to have a score put onto their entry and comments. Also for judging, remember these are people. These are folks trying their best, and they came with good intention and a noble heart going in there and going, you know what, I made this and I'm super proud of this and I want to keep going in this and I'm going to put myself out there. Here, judge it. It is a very hard thing to have somebody put a number on your work. It is a hard thing to get comments where they might be all just criticism. That is very, very difficult. I'm a Serpent Knight and it still hurts. It's hard. It's very hard to be that open and allow folks to just rip something apart once, you know, you've put your all into it. You could be working on something for 6 months and all of a sudden they hate it. They point out every single thing that went wrong, things that you thought went really well. On the contrary, there's other cases to where you might be an expert in a thing, and everything you did was, like, textbook. Then you have a judge that isn't very knowledgeable in that category, and will all of a sudden be like, oh, it should have been this. This wasn't good at all. Oh, wow, that was a terrible choice. I would have done it this way. And you're like, this is my job. This is literally my profession. I am like a professional in this particular medium or art form. And all of a sudden you get a terrible score and really horrible comments and you're like, what? No, why? And you have to open yourself up for those too. And that's really, really hard. So just don't be so harsh. Right, you want to have standards. You want to make sure that everything is fair, everything is equal. But there should be allowance and give. Now, I won't go into it yet, but I'll explain how I kind of cover that sort of thing in the rule set that I created to kind of help with that. But yeah. Also, when you are judging, it is okay to ask other judges questions. If you have somebody that is a master garber and you have never sewn before, you might be Master Owl, you might be a master of a whole bunch of different mediums that are in that, but garb, never touched it. Don't try to then just be like, yeah, this totally should have had this on there, and this is bad, right? I'm gonna score it a 3 out of 10, right? Don't do that. Don't guess. Don't guess. Go to that person and ask them what they should look for. Ask them, what are things that are good and what are things that are bad that could be done in garb, right? You're not asking them to give you the score to put. You're not asking them how to judge it. You're just asking them what to look for. Then, through you just being able to do that for your other art forms, just go, oh, okay. So let's say it's crocheted. If I don't crochet and I have somebody that is a master at it, the things that they're going to tell me to look for is things like tension, the complexity of the design, whether like the fill is showing through for things that are stuffed. There's so much. There's so much. But they can guide you to what to look at, and then you as a judge can assess whether or not they did those things and whether or not it was successful. When you are judging, also for the comments, we call this the crap sandwich. Compliment sandwich? You don't want a crap sandwich. You want a compliment sandwich. Sorry. Super important. Okay, so start with a compliment. Point out something good. And then go into the critique. Going, okay, so this is something you can improve on. Finish it with another good positive, right? So you can go in there and go, thank you so much for entering. This is a really cool project. It was a really cool design. I really think it was amazing that you went bold and big with this. Next thing, right? This is where you can improve on. I noticed this and that. If you maybe tried this or that, it could be improved your score next time. Finish it off. Again, solid entry. I liked the design choice. I liked the colors that you used. And I can't wait to see more work from you in the future, right? At the end of the day, these can be rather mentally crushing. You are putting a number and you're making critique on somebody's work, right? Artwork is a very personal thing. This is my cat. Hello, cat. I'm going to put all my videos down. My buddy. This is Trey. Yeah, so basically, understand that if you are too harsh and too critical, you have the possibility of turning folks off to tournamenting in the future. Worse off, in the worst case scenario, is that you turn them off from that art form or crafting altogether. I have seen this happen, and it shouldn't happen. At the end of the day, this is a game. At the end of the day, we're all fam, right? We're here to support each other, to encourage each other. And for those of us that craft, this is everything for us. And it should be a safe, secure thing that you do for the love of it. And you should not squash someone's love of something. These tournaments are for those that are competitive and have a drive and want to see how good they can do, and watch their improvement, and show their work, right? Throw down, go, hey, this is me, this is what I can do. That's what it's about. But also for others, it might be just I'm really nervous and want to just take more risks and try something. And you're going to have folks that are going to be in those tournaments too. So understand that not everyone in there is a hardcore, can take anything, professional that can be like, yeah, bring it. Those comments, I'll eat them for dinner. Bye. I hope that's not a thing. Don't eat your write-ups. It's weird. But teach their own. You do you. But yeah. So, any questions about judging before I move on? Yes, this is being recorded, so you can watch it later. Yes, cute kitty is cute. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to read this out because I like this. Says teacher here. The more specific it is, the better I'm sorry, I'm butchering this. My deepest apologies. The more specific it is, the better. That way the person knows that you really did look at their work and that your comments are genuine. And critique should always come with a helpful suggestion, not just cut down. I love that very much because it's very, very true. Yeah, some folks are literally just entering to get feedback, to know where they can improve. Don't needlessly cut them down, please. Just don't do it. There is no reason to. It is just hurtful and unnecessary. So please, 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 please. But yes, thank you so much for that because it's super, super valid comment. Are there any other questions before we move to the next category? Another silly dance. Okay, moving on. Okay, little known rules. There are some general thinglings that some folks don't necessarily know, but are pretty much general things across the board. Most tournaments have a time limit of when your entries need to be finished. Now the key word is finished. You can start a project 3 years ago and finish it 2 days before the tournament and enter it. And that's super legit. So you see it all the time. Super, 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 super common. If you are working on something and it's a big piece, like you're like, wow, I want to enter this. This is going to be a good one. Don't finish. It's as simple as that. Don't finish it. You can have a whole set of things. You can have 7 things on the go. Don't finish any of them. If they're that high of quality and you've put that much time and effort into it, don't just finish it off and be like, oh, well, there wasn't a tournament in the past, like, in that 6-month gap, so I guess this was all for nothing. Don't just make things only for tournaments. Also, that's, that will get you in all sorts of, I'm going to call it mental anguish. Gosh, that's just a general tip. I'm just going to do that side comment real quick. Do what you love. if you make something because you want to make it, if it's something that maybe you need or you just want new garb. If you put a whole lot of time and effort into it and you enter it and it scores terribly, and maybe you don't get an award. If you only made it to get an award, you lose everything. All of a sudden you have this piece, maybe you didn't even size it to you. You took 2 years to finish this thing. It's not something you can wear. No one seems to want to buy it. And it sits in your cupboard or in a box for the rest of eternity. Maybe you spent $500 on materials for that thing. And you did it all because you wanted your next whatever. That's it. It's done. And all you have left from that is just regret, sadness, and it becomes very hard to do the next piece. Because you're just like, 3 years. It's gone. Everything. Everything that you've done it for. Don't do that to yourself, please. Do it because you love doing it. Do it for commissions. Do it for things that you want, you need. But just don't do them solely for tournaments with no other rationale. Because people get overlooked. And some folks just, even if it's noticed, even if it should get an award, sometimes it just won't. Sometimes your regent just won't agree. And it happens and it's unfortunate. But it's something that you need to go into realizing that is a possibility. So do try to go in with the knowledge that you may get nothing out of it. But if you do, hey, it's a bonus, right? Think of it all as just, these are added niceties, not the sole reason to do something. So there's that. So going back, right? Don't finish the piece if you want to use it to throw down. When you're doing a throwdown, you don't just have like one entry. Back in the day, it used to be like 7, something like that. It was kind of your go-to set. Just how points worked, and a lot of tournaments had a 7 entry minimum to enter, or to qualify for Dragonmaster, things like that. So basically, if you're going to throw down, you want a collection. You want a full set of things. Excuse me. So keep that in mind when you are prepping for a tournament. Don't just go with one item. Absolutely not less than 3. Go for more. If you can do more, go for more. Also, don't... If something isn't completely done as far as you could have taken it, just passing, right? Like, oh, if I had just a week more, I could have done this or that. Pull it. Don't enter it. If you have a few entries, but you know it's not gonna win it for you, because you need at least 1 or 2 more to really sink it. Pull them all. Don't enter. There are a million tournaments, and there's also a million tournaments outside of your park, your principality, your kingdom, and you can enter anywhere, right? If you want to go enter something into Neverwinter, go for it. Send your stuff. You're not restricted, unless the rule specifically states that you must have citizenship in a thing. Right. Always check the rules. Always. Things vary. So no matter what tournament you're doing, always look at the rules. There's always going to be something different. Reading is important. And read everything, every word. Read it multiple times. You don't want to have any tiny little thing that you're going to miss, because that can be the difference between winning and losing. And it can be by a substantial amount. So make sure you know exactly what you're doing. Right. If you enter something and you get feedback, you get a score, and they're like, if you had done this or that, added these pieces, made it part of this thing, you can re-enter it. If you change enough about it, if you make a substantial change, it can be entered again. Now, it has to be enough, right? Don't just, add a sticker at the bottom and go, it's different, right? Make sure that it's substantial enough. But yeah, you can re-enter things if you improve on them, if you add to them and make it another piece, it can be re-entered. Performance pieces. You can redo performance pieces. Give it time. Make sure that there is a change, right? Maybe this time around, you are going to dress as the character that you're performing as. You're going to have an actual choreography of where you're walking, what you're gesturing to, how you're doing things. Maybe you've completely reassessed the whole thing and went, I've been just singing this like a song. I didn't think about it as a character. I'm going to redo this and really invest into it and go, you know what? Yeah, no, I'm gonna treat it like the character that should have been singing it. I'm gonna look like them. I'm gonna move like them. Right? That's a whole nother piece now. That's a different piece, and you can re-enter that. Sorry, one question just came up. I'm sorry, can I get a clarification? The question is, on re-entries, does that include online write-ups? Are you asking if... Okay, I'm a little confused on the question. I think I'm just going to do a clarification that I think that... if you add and change and revamp something, you are going to want a new write-up, because you're going to want to state what you changed. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so I'm actually going to go over this because this is a whole nother thing. Yeah, I will cover this. I will cover this right now. Another one of those little known things. You can have the same exact item, no changes, the same exact write-up, no changes, and enter it in higher tournaments. So if I have this, and I enter this into a Shire Dragonmaster, and next month my park to the east is doing a Barony tournament, I can do the same exact entry with the same exact write-up and put it into the Barony one. Oh, what's that? A week later, a Duchy. Now I'm entering the same exact thing into the Duchy one. My God, 2 days later, Principality. What? Hey, look at that. And by God, look at that. A week after, Kingdom. I've just done how many tournaments with this thing? One item, one write-up. You can always go up. You cannot, however, go down. So if you start with a Kingdom tournament and you try to put that into a Shire tournament, no, it will be disqualified. So, yeah, always go up. And also, why not? If you spend a very long time, dedication thrown into a thing, get the legwork out of it. Just like get the longevity. Enter it into whatever you can while you can, because there'll be a time that you can't, right? Because a lot of those things have to be finished within that 6-month period. So basically, if all those tournaments are within that 6-point period for the end time, yeah, enter, go for it. Shameless plug. Principality Dragonmaster is coming up on May 9th. Check out the information on that. We're going to be doing it on Discord. And there is a post that is pinned to the top of the Principality of the Nine Blades board that explaining all the rules and all that. I will actually be going over the rule set for that tournament here. Yeah. Okay, so are there any more questions on that? Any questions on the weird little ruly things? Again, little dance as we wait. Make it shiny enough. Yes. When in doubt, make it shiny. I'm joking. You don't have to make it shiny. Yes. Let tournaments inspire you. Let your passion drive you. So yes, watch out for burnout. There's a lot of folks that will attempt to do tournaments where they're making the entry, maybe several of them the night before. Understand what that does to your body and your mind. It is usually best to just hold off, enter in the next thing. It's very, very, very important that you are aware of your mental and physical needs during these, because they can be very taxing. Very, very stressful, and lots of sleepless nights, forgetting to eat and drink. Keep hydrated. Yeah, at the end of the day, you don't want to sacrifice your health to do these things, and they can take a lot out of you. So just self-care is important, and make sure that you keep up with that and listen to your body. Okay, I will answer this right here. Not sure if it's going to come up in a later section of the class, but say, for example, with food, are you allowed to enter multiple items into the same subcategory, or only one? Yeah, so it is actually encouraged. You do not have to have one physical thing per subcategory, category, whatever. You can have a set of things and it be one entry. So you can have 5 things. They're all thematically the same, right? They're all different, whatever. But it be one entry. Again, bonus points. If you have a set or a collection of things, right? You could have 3 paintings, and them all be upright and properly presented, have that nice tablecloth underneath, and let's say it's a belted family, one person from each member of the family, right? That is a cohesive set, and that is category art, subcategory 2D art, right? Family, the title, and that's all one thing. So you'll get the bonus points of this is a cohesive set and a lot of work, right? So yes, by all means, throw down with those collections, just right. Another thing you'll see as an example for that is garb ensembles, right? You don't, right? I'm not gonna enter my hat separate, my gloves separate, the I did not make this. Mamma Mia made this. This, right? I'm not going to put my cloak separate. I'm going to go court. Right? Category, garb, subcategory, court. And I'm going to put it on a dress form. The whole thing's going to be this nice, cohesive set. That's going to score a lot better than it being just one thing here, one thing there. So yeah, sets are good. Sets are very good. Bonus points, right? Name of the game is bonus points. Bonus points. Is there any other questions before I move on to the next category? Silly dance. Silly dance. Okay. Let us move on. Cool. Now, we're going to go over the Dragonmaster rule set that we have in place in the Principality right now. So this is the rule set that I created. Now, there are other parks in the Principality that are also using this rule set. If you are a regent, you may use this. Anyone that wants to use this can use this. If you're from another kingdom, you can use this if you like. Yeah. It's made to be used, so you have my blessing, go for it. Just make sure that it is accredited. Plagiarism. please do not take credit for the thingy. And if there are questions on the rule set, please ask me instead of trying to make up solutions or something. It might be just like a misunderstanding on wording or something like that. There's lots of things I can just clarify. But yeah, so that's about it. So, really quick, easy, simple, one pager. If you print it out, it has 2 pages. The second page is just the categories and subcategories, which you can find in our Corpora. So, I'm just literally going to go through this. Who can enter? Any member of Amtgard can compete in this tournament. Judges cannot have entries in this competition. What can enter? Entries must be completed within 6 months of the Dragonmaster tournament. Again, has to finish, can be started at any point previous. Limit of 1 subcategory per entry. Great. So you can do literally every category, but you can only do 1 thing per that subcategory. So you can do something, right, take art. I can put something in for 2D, 3D, jewelry, and needlework. But I cannot put 4 things into 2D art. Cool. Cool. Write-ups. Write-ups are required for each entry. This tournament will be done in the blind judging format. Do not put your name on your write-ups. You will be given a number to put on your write-ups when you register your entries. Write-ups must include the title of the piece, category and subcategory you are entering your piece into, a description of how you made your piece. Please note that accommodations can be made for those with special needs, and please contact myself, Amy Salvador, on Facebook. Then we can discuss options for those accommodations. Other requirements. Bardic entries have a 5-minute maximum. Written entries have a 5-page maximum. 10-point font, single-spaced. Written entries must provide 5 copies for judges. Cooking entries must provide a list of ingredients in case the judges have allergies. Scoring. How does scoring work? If able, there should be 5 judges for this tournament. Entries will be scored from 1 to 10 points with a 0.5 increment in between. For Principality level, which is what this tournament will be, only scores above a 6 will count towards the contestant's final score. Now, if you're doing this at local level tournaments, you only need a 5. And that will count towards the contestant's final score. So anything under Principality only needs to go to 5. to count. The highest and the lowest judges' scores will be removed. All scores left, i.e. those above 6 points, or for lower, 5, will be added together to determine the contestant's final score. The contestant with the highest cumulative score will be named the winner and receive the title of Dragonmaster of the Northern Empire. Blah. 9 Blades. We have a different name now. Yes, so Dragonmaster of the 9 Blades until the next Principality Dragonmaster takes place. Again, this is for our tournament. In the event of a tie, the entrant with the highest scoring single entry between the tied players will win. And finally, the highest scoring single entry will be awarded the title of Best in Show. So, I'm going to explain why. Why these things are what they are. So, blind judging. Blind judging means that you will not know who your judges are, and the judges will not know who you are. So you are given a number when you register your entries. So instead of putting your name on your write-ups, you will put your number on your write-ups. So the organizer will be able to keep track of all of your entries by the number that you have. The judges, normally for this, will have different colored markers, pencil crayons, pens, whatever. So they'll be given a color. In lieu of that, they might have like a code name or something. And they will keep the same one as they're going. So the contestants will not know who is judging each of their comments, but the runner will have the master list and know everyone who did judge. And if there is concern over any of the judging, if there needs to be an audit or whatever, that will be able to be determined who actually made the comments and the scores. So, the reason to have 5 judges is because the top score and the bottom score are removed. Now, you're probably wondering why. Why is that? Remember way back in the beginning when we were talking about bias? Intentional and unintentional bias? This accounts for that. So if you have somebody that is being way too harsh, they don't like the person, they don't like their work, their score isn't going to count. Now, on the other hand, if you have somebody that is super, super close with this contestant, loves everything they do, their score will also not count. So this way, it covers both negative and positive bias. It also covers inexperience, those that really don't know anything about the category and either scores it way too high or way too low. Those are also removed, right? You're left with these. For ease of running, there isn't crazy decimal points and things like that, right? The most it goes up is by 0.5, so, right, so it's half points. So you could have a 5.5, a 6.5, but the bottom is a 1 and the top is a 10. So the highest thing you can get up top would be a 9.5 before a 10. You can't get a 10.5. But yeah, so then those 3 remaining scores just get added together and boom, that's the score for that entry. So you take all of those totals, and then at the end, that one remaining number for each of those gets added together, and that's your final Dragonmaster score. So, the reason why you have to get a 6+ in Principality, or 5+ for lower, is for flooding. Something that you see in some places is a thing called flooding. Flooding means that if I have 10 entries and they are just real bad, real bad, I made 10 of these. They are just terrible. And they all score a 1. And then I have one person that is a master something. And they enter one thing, but it's perfect. And they get a 10. They would have the same final score. Which is problematic. So if the person that flooded had 11 entries, they would beat the master. So basically having it to where you have to hit that, 5 or 6, depending on the tournament, means that they have to at least be of quality. 5 is essentially average. It's an average piece. You know what? It is what it said it is. It's solidly average. It's not the best thing ever, and it's not the worst thing. It's about even. And that's kind of what you're going for, right? You want to try to bump up from there. But you can have multiple entries and just have it, be in that halfway up mark versus that halfway down. So that those are not counted towards your score. Again, it's an anti-flooding mechanism. Also, again, right, going into there being only 1 per subcategory. Again, this is more flooding stuff. Dragonmaster tournaments, the purpose of them is to see your breadth of skill for multiple mediums and art forms. We are not looking for a one-trick pony. That's straight up what Dragonmaster is, and that's why there's so many different categories. We're looking for somebody that is well-rounded and proficient in multiple mediums. And that should really be the person that ends up winning. So if there wasn't a cap on subcategories, I could do 50 paintings and just call it a day right there. I wouldn't be able to show that I can do literally anything else. So that kind of goes against the whole purpose of the tournament. So, right, more anti-flooding things. It lets us see a wide range of art forms, mediums, and whatnot. So that's why that's there. So things to note, because we are doing this for the online format. We do have some changes to this rule set, very minor things, for the sake of being able to convert it into an online format. So I will quickly go over what those are. Okay, so if you go onto the Principality page, I don't know if you can see that, but it is pinned right to the top. That has the link to the rule set itself, and it has the dates and times of and the location of where we're doing this, as well as all of the slight changes that we are making. Okay, so a few things. Cooking entries. We are not going to be able to taste the entries. You can still enter, but they can only be judged on things like visuals, plating, difficulty, effort, and things of that nature. Please do still have the list of ingredients, even though we're not going to be dealing with allergies, of course. But it is part of us knowing what you put into it, how you made it, and it just gives us more to be able to judge. Bardic entries. Please record your entries. Please do not edit those recordings. So we're talking about like augmentation, right? Don't use autotune. Don't do multiple recordings and then splice together the best bits of them. We're asking that you try not to do more than 2 attempts at recording it. We're giving the leeway of the 2 so that if normally in a Dragonmaster tournament, if you have a hard flub at the beginning, you can ask to restart. So it's essentially mimicking that sort of thing. So if you start doing it and your camera falls off your laptop or whatever, right? You forgot to press record, your mic's not on, whatever random technical difficulties, you will be able to give it a second try. Now, we will be lenient if let's say you go for the 2 attempts and both you have technical difficulties, you will be allowed to do the third. We're just asking that you please try to do it in as few tries as possible. When you are doing it live, you don't get to just restart a million times, right? They'll give you that one buffer, but don't sing the whole entire thing and at the end forget your lines and go, oh, can I start over again? That's not gonna work. So 1 and done. If you can, 2 is acceptable. Try not to go farther than that. Now, for augmenting and things of that nature, editing, this applies to the performance, the bardic entries. So that does not apply to media. Media is when you are intentionally doing those things, because that's what you're being judged on, right? If you're doing a compilation of things and it's all about editing random bits together, right? That's what you're being judged on. So it does not follow the same criteria. You do not need 5 entries or 5 copies of your written entries. It's going to be online, right? So that will no longer be necessary. And the last thing is just what we reiterated from before. Please take multiple photos. Make sure that they are clear, they are visible. You can see the details, you can see different angles. Make sure that the lighting is good. It is literally the only way we can see your work. And if we can't see the hard work that you've done, you're going to get a lower score. You're going to, it's only going to hurt yourself. Please give us the best possible way to be able to give you all the credit you very much deserve. Now, given the circumstances, if this does not work for you, don't enter. Wait till the next tournament. Wait till we can see each other again. We can do this in person. Just know that you're never forced to do these. And again, right, as we said before, there's going to be more of these. So don't sweat it if you think that this tournament is going to do you a disservice. If you have technical issues to the point of you can't get good shots, you can't get a good video. Also, you can take video of your entries as well as an accompaniment to those photographs. So if you have something like this, I did not make this. This came from Michael's. Right, I'm gonna take a photo here, 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 right? But I can also just do a video where I can just see every angle of it, right? Just go around and let us see as much as you possibly can give us. So, more is more, right? For this particular case, give us as much help as you can give us to make sure that you can get the best scores you can. Are there any questions on the rule set? Okay, so here's a question. So for the food entries, we will be submitting how it looks through video and pictures then? Yeah, pretty much. So basically, it's in correlation with your write-up. But consider things like plating, consider, the presentation. of how you're presenting, right? All bonus points. The name of the game is bonus points. Repeat stuff. Repeat stuff. Show us different angles. Show us how you're able to plate, right? Are you just gonna stick it on some styrofoam and put a plastic fork in it and call it a day? Maybe it's on a paper towel, right? Try to actually do legit plating if you can. That will only help. So again, right? Visual things. We will visibly be able to see if something is burnt. You can see if something is raw, right? So there's visual things that we can see to see if you have actually done something right? So even though we won't be able to taste something that has been really, really burnt, we'll be able to see that it's burnt. And the scores will follow, right? There we go. Okay. Yeah. So for food, understand that we will not be able to taste it, but we will judge it on everything else that we normally judge food entries on. Again, if that is a game breaker for you and you feel that there is no way that you're going to get a fair score out of that, which arguably, right, it's food. We won't be able to taste it, and taste is, the number one thing. Consider holding that entry. I would suggest holding it, right? We're not going to tell you don't do it, but understand that we're not going to be able to taste it. So take that into consideration when you choose whether or not you enter. And again, there's going to be other tournaments. This is not a one and done. This is not your one shot to try and do this. Pull things if you got it. That is totally fine. Are there any other questions? Anything on this particular rule set? Anything for this particular tournament coming up? Another silly dance. Wait. Okay. I am just going to briefly cover just a couple of different types of ANS tournaments and things like that are out there, and then close it up with questions, and then we're done. Excuse me. So Dragonmaster tournaments are not the only tournaments that are out there. Some folks have crown quals, which is normally how you would qualify for running for office, as one of the requirements for the offices that do need those. Now, up in the Northern Empire, we have changed things drastically for how we do our crown quals, and parks are no longer required to run a crown qual ANS tournament. With that said, I highly encourage regents to still run tournaments. Just because you don't have to doesn't mean you shouldn't. Folks still need opportunities to be able to finish their quals. And they only need to enter 3 passing things in a tournament for that particular qual. But also remember for things like Regent, you can write a tutorial on how to do something and post that, and then you don't even have to do a tournament. So just, there are options, right? Again, ask your regents, ask your monarchs, ask vets, ask the Kapora. Read the Kapora. Everything's in the Kapora. If you're running for office, read the Kapora. And also remember that you can qual well before you actually run. So you can finish your quals 6 months before you ever even decide to run. So honestly, get on them early, even if you don't end up running. Right? You might end up running literally the last minute, and it'll be just real nice and easy to be like, oh, I've finished everything already. All I need to do is say that I'm running, right? So definitely look through the Quora, see how we're doing those, and get on them early. Yeah. So for regular Crown Qual tournaments, usually it's done the same sort of one entry per subcategory is the standard for that. The 6-month finishing is also pretty standard for that. The one thing with Crown Qual tournaments is that there is an added category, Rose. Rose category is it is like service things. You could make a set of loner sashes for your park and then donate them. That would be a Rose entry. Now, the unique thing with the Rose entry is that there is no subcategory. It counts as its own subcategory. So you can only have one. So it does function as that. But there is no, like, 4 things you can, subcategory into it. It counts as its own subcategory. So just be careful with that if you do that. Please also note that Dragonmaster tournaments specifically do not have Rose category. So do not try to do a Rose category for a Dragonmaster tournament. You won't be able to enter it. Basically, if it can fit into one of the regular subcategories, if you try to enter it, they'll just tell you, this is not a subcategory, please choose a different one. And if you end up having the same one as another piece of yours, then all of a sudden you don't have that entry. So again, read the rules very carefully before you enter anything. But yeah, so there's different types of tournaments. So there's something called like Best of the Best. A way that can be done is you have one entry, and that's it. And it can be a bracketed tournament. So sort of like a fighting tournament where you have an actual bracket, and your one entry goes up against other people's one entries. So you go down until there is a winner. Now some folks will run those with winners and a losers bracket. So if you do end up losing in your first thing, you have a chance to get back in. So those are always neat. Something I've been running is the Whoop-de-doo tournament. Because there are a lot of folks that are not doing the Crown Qual tournaments right now, I created a rule set for, again, for those that don't know, traditionally up here for earning hydras, we perform the ritual mating dance of the hydra, which is the arm flails is very important, and you say whoop-de-doo. If you go to any court up here, that is what you will see and hear for every hydra, which is wonderful. Keep that up. Yeah, so that is a tournament set that I've been doing. Because of how our Crown Quals work, you need the 3 entries to qual for it to be a tournament entry. So it is done like a best of the best sort of bracketed style, but you're allowed 3 entries, and you can actually end up competing against yourself in those as well, depending on how things lined up. Yeah, so we've done one so far, and it was successful and super fun. So many inside jokes, all hell pouch. Yeah, so if anyone requires that tournament, would like that tournament, please contact me, let me know. It is a speed thing, so basically I just need the week before your declarations end. I would need it to be run, giving folks, you have 3 days to make 3 entries. You can make all of them in one day, but you have up to 3 days to do it. So it is a speed challenge. This also allows this to be done last minute. For those that need their entries in a pinch, they are able to do so in a very fast time frame. So if any parks need that, please contact me and I will assist. It's also been done as an online tournament for the aid of being able to happen in that short period of time. Yeah, same sort of thing, right? You're gonna take photos, do your write-ups, and send those. So again, keep me posted on that. Now, other kingdoms, other tournaments exist. Golden Vale, for instance, they do something called the Iron Griffin. I believe that one is similar to ours in the, there's a cutoff. You have to have 7 out of 10 points, I believe is their tournament form. You also have a minimum amount of entries that you have to enter to qual for the Dragonmaster title. So you can't just put in 1 entry and win. There's a certain amount that you have to do. But yeah, there's many different formats, and please note that you can create your own rule set. You do not have to choose a pre-existing one. If you have a really neat idea, go for it. Right. Coordinate with your regent and your monarch to make sure that it won't conflict with any of the tournaments that actually need to be run. Also, if you're an autocrat event, or maybe the Anestocrat, you might want to have a tiny little specialty ANS competition happening there. Awesome, right? Again, so long as it's not conflicting with any tournaments that need to be run, and all those that have, for instance, if your autocrat does not have the space or room in the schedule for it, you're not going to be able to do it, right? In that event. So just coordinate with people, but know that there are options for you, right? There's one little thing that I saw before where it's like there was a bin of materials, and you got a set amount of time, and that's it. That's all you could use, and there was no pre-work. There's no creating things previously to the event. All you had was whatever you could grab out of that bucket and whatever you can make in X amount of time, and then those were judged. So there's just fun little things like that. So you're limited by your imagination. Go for it. I think that's the primary ones. Are there any questions? Any questions on literally anything that we have covered today? Oh, here's a question. I'm confused though. If I don't enter this principality, then the time will run out by the next one. Yes. Yeah, I mean, like, there is a 6-month time period that entries must be finished for. That's just the standard. But okay, for instance, there will be another tournament at Bot D, in theory. So if you didn't enter this one, you could enter that piece into the Bot D tournament. So yeah, this isn't your one and done, because that's still in that 6-month end thing. More typing. Oh. which is 6 months. Again, the 6-month thing is a general thing. If it was like 6 months and 2 weeks, you're fine. It's not. They're not going to log it and be like, oh, well, this was done on the 26th of March on year 2072. It's really not that critical. It is more of a guideline than a hard cutoff. And also, given the circumstances, leniency should always be observed when there are things that are outside of our control, like pandemics. Yeah, again, so that's fine. You're fine. Yeah, it's again, event runners, tournament runners, please use leniency when it is needed. This is not meant to knock people down. It's not meant to discourage artisans. It's not meant to be this negative, terrible experience, being like, oh, you took 2 years to make a thing? Oh, well, you were off by 1 day, so you can't enter now. Please, no. That is not what we're looking for. I will tell you right now, for my tournaments, I am not that harsh. So I definitely would suggest that others, again, these are, especially for my rule set, if you're going by my rule set, it is a general thing, so that it's not like, oh, you finished this piece 10 years ago, and it has been entered everywhere. Right. We're going by the 6-month thing as a general thing, so that you're not going back years and years. This is just a thing to curtail other problems. It is not a hard, strict rule. And if there's any time that there's little things here and there, look at the 5-page maximum for written entries, for instance. If you go 2 words over, you're not disqualified. It's fine. You go so much as like a paragraph over, I'm still gonna let it go, right? Same with your bardic entries. Let's say it's 5 minutes and 20 seconds. You're fine, right? This is a general thing. It's to avoid abuse and right, if we have no limit whatsoever, right, you could end up doing a 3-hour opera, and all of a sudden your judges have to sit there for the next 3 hours before they can judge anything else, right? We're just trying to avoid extremes, and having those numbers is a good guideline to try to keep that as close as possible. So we are asking that you try to keep things as close as possible, but there is leniency, especially in a time like this. Worry not. Worry only if there's something to worry about, but we will make things as easy as we can right now. And any other time, I'm all for making things easier all the time. Like, I want to encourage folks to do stuff, right? We do not want this to be a negative experience. We want you guys to enjoy these things. So it is on us to make sure that the rule sets and the rules are done in a manner to where they are still encouraging to the folks that are entering. So please keep that in mind if you are a judge, if you are somebody writing a rule set or running a tournament. Are there any questions before we wrap up? One final silly dance. And I think that is about it. I want to thank you so much for coming to this Dragonmaster Masterclass, and hopefully got some good information out of it. If there are more questions, feel free to message me. Again, most people just call me Admiral, but full name, Admiral Cash. And Amy Salvador is my name on Facebook, so feel free to message me there or on Discord. And have an awesome day. Stay safe, and look out for each other, right? Love y'all, and hope to talk to you soon.